The Community Environmental Protection Alliance, CEPA, is an organisation founded by families and communities affected by industrial wind turbine developments in Ireland. Our mission is to safeguard natural resources, promote sustainable practices, raise awareness about environmental issues, advocate for environmental regulation policies, and nurture collaboration among community members. At the heart of our mission is the protection of public health, well-being, and the environment. Please visit our website for more information and help us by signing our petition for wind regulations. Thank you for watching.
Good evening, everyone. We are starting our second episode of Cepa Podcast tonight, and we have two guests to talk about their case. I'm going to invite them to the stage, and we can talk about. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Michael. Welcome. Tonight, we would like to listen to your story and what challenges you found about the wind turbines development in your area. So I would like to start asking, what is your area and how all that started, please? Would you like to go, Brenda, first? And
sure.
Please.
I mean, I guess
Okay.
we're in a small village, Coolcappa in West Limerick, and we learned about the development in November 2020, and at the time there wasn't a lot of information, so I missed the public exhibition myself, but we later found out that there would be 6 turbines, 158 meters high, and slowly people started to speak to one another within the community. Slowly people were talking to one another and concerning what does 158 meters high look like, and how close exactly are they to the village. And very quickly we discovered the turbines there on the way to Dublin, near Rossgray on the M7, were just maybe 10 meters shy of 158 meters, and that was frightening, actually, because you're probably just near 500 meters from those turbines when you're traveling up the road. And to give an example, the National School would be 750 meters from the nearest turbine. So
Okay.
they really are. They're within 4 times the setback of the village, and that is the limit, the current draft limit, let's say. In March 2023, we formed a committee, and we initially tried to learn more from other groups, and also we felt that there wasn't a whole pile of information available, and not a lot of people knew about this proposed development. That was a big issue for us.
Yes. And how
people
was
didn't-
the interaction with the company, with the community? Was there involvement or any discussion about this development?
There was letters. There was about 2 letters and an invitation. And we've since learned that the company has told us that the invitation went to everybody within 2-kilometer radius. And I don't believe that that's near enough, but we've learned that more than 10% of the houses within 2 kilometers did not receive an invitation. So there seems to be a little mismatch and a small issue there. People didn't get, and not enough people, in my opinion, got the opportunity to attend the public exhibition.
Yes.
So the information is very scant, actually, even for the letters. It doesn't explain the number of turbines. It doesn't explain the height of it. And so you have eventually, maybe 8 weeks or 6 or 8 weeks after the public exhibition, that information was made available on the company website. And when you compare the website to other wind farm developments, for example, Coolcappa up in Galway, we know the people there, and they have an amount of information, they've over 13 different types of maps showing where the planned route of the cabling, the substation, all of the houses, everything. So no, we don't know. There's not a lot of information, or no photomontage. There's no photomontage. But we felt that the most important thing as a group is to respect everybody's opinion, and just to raise awareness. And that was always our mission, and it was always part of any. We issued a newsletter or two. Would ask people to be aware of it and to go do their own research and to make up their own minds.
How did you find Michael as well? You are in the same group as Brenda, is it?
Yes, I'd be a neighbour of Brenda's. So we found, I suppose, the big thing we found was that it was up to ourselves to educate. We had to educate ourselves in relation to the wind farm and root out information that was very poorly presented, maybe, or non-existent within the development or the developer's website. There was one location map really on the developer's website, which had a radius kind of showing the distances or the setbacks, different distances, say 700, 800, 900 meters, kilometer, 1500, and then 2 kilometers. So that was the only map that we were shown on the developer's website. And it was up to us really to go into the website and find it for ourselves. There was, as Brenda said, there was no photo montages. There was no, say, construction drawings of where the route for entrance and egress from the site was going to be, or the proposed road layout of the wind farm. It was very much vague and very much kept in the dark for as long as they could keep us in the dark. But
and in addition to that as well.
Well, fortunately for us, we came together as a community, and we suppose we started asking questions. We had, as a group, we have conducted two nights in our local hall, and I suppose that was there was a massive turnout. We close on 200 people both nights in the hall, and I suppose the first night that we had was very much, I suppose the whole thing was that nobody was there to tell about a lived experience. But what we said to people there was, we could bring anybody to a meeting and ask them to say something. We told people they needed to go away themselves and to ask, because like we have in our area, we'd have another wind farm in the parish that we live in, and then not too far in the neighbouring parishes, we'd have additional wind farms. So you don't have to go that far from where our village is to get somebody that lives close to one, or find out somebody that lives close to one. So we said to people, go and educate yourselves and hear from the horse's mouth. And that was the big thing. Our second meeting we had was, we brought people from, I suppose, from educating ourselves, we found people that were willing to talk out about how the wind farms had affected them personally. And we got them to come to our second night. And I think that was a lot more impactful in relation to kind of driving it home to people that the developer can tell you there will be no shadow flicker, there will be no noise. These are people that are living beside it and being tortured on a daily basis by the turbines. So that's.
In addition to all this, since you knew about the development to the deadline of submitting an objection, in addition to educate everybody, like we passed through that too, how did you find yourself? And you have to educate yourselves, and how is that for you?
So for us, we still haven't gone for planning. So we were notified in I think was it October 22. And at that point the developer told us that planning would be going in early to mid 23, spring 23, and that it would be into construction, or was it operational by 2026, I believe. To this date, there still has been no planning application has been lodged.
Okay.
So we can't, from all the things that have been said by the developer, we're very wary of anything that they do state, because it's now gone 12, 14 months over since they originally had said they were going for planning, but still no planning has been applied for. So that's where we are. We're still in a limbo of, is the developer going to go ahead with it? Is he not? What changes is he going to make? Is what he proposed originally going to be what goes for planning? This is a massive question that we have, is where is the planning application? Where is what the developer has said he was going to do?
Yeah.
And also, I just think that it's pre-planning is a time for public consultation, and therefore public consultation involves compromise, or it involves discussion. It involves the provision of information first and foremost, but it has to be a two-way conversation. And we're not being provided with information, and it's just being refused. So we've asked on a number of occasions. We've written open letters to the developer as a group, as a community, and the answer is no. You won't get these, and you can get these. You can receive the photo montage. You can receive information regarding shadow flicker when the application is submitted, and you can give your opinions during the statutory process. But that's not how the Planning Act lays down and recommends how the process should work.
Yes, and this is why we are here tonight as well, to discuss. And we met through Cepa, Brenda, and now I'm meeting Michael. How do you think about this movement now, for the need of more regulations? How do you think this can develop and help us in any way?
Well, I think for me personally, all I can say is that before this development, my knowledge on wind farms and my knowledge on a wind turbine would have been very simplistic, and it would have been renewable energy wind turbine, complete. Of course, nothing is perfect, but now for a large amount of people, I think that the noise is certainly causing a loss of amenity. So they lose the amenity of outdoors. They lose the enjoyment of living within certain rooms when it's a windy day. But then for people that are just too close, it is certainly, sleep is one of the first things that comes to mind. But more than that, the headaches and the doctor's appointments, and of course the doctors don't recognize that just when these people go on holidays, they're not getting the headaches. The doctors and the GPs aren't able to assist properly. So once you know about it, though, you can't unknow. You can't go back. And the government had made promises in the past to regulate wind farms, because the government is paying a lot of money, a lot of subsidies to this industry for the electricity. and if they're getting all the money for the subsidies, they should be regulated.
Yeah, we have as well in our website. If you want to take a look, cepa.ie, for whoever is watching right now, we have there the time frame of these regulations and how it developed through the years. So what is Brenny saying? Like, we need urgently a change on this and a decision in how these developments need to be installed and where.
I don't believe people realize that, that it for somebody who is having an issue, they appear to be in isolation. So while they're not speaking so openly with their neighbors about the problems, and that's something that surprised me. But at the moment, there is no statutory regulation for noise in Ireland. The only statutory regulation there is for noise is noise in the workplace. So if you are having a problem and if you're not getting a good night's sleep, that's because of a wind turbine noise, you will contact the council or you will contact the company, and they're not obliged. They're only obliged to meet the planning condition. And we know that the planning conditions now, as a result of the High Court action and the Justice Egan's judgment, that wind turbine noise is a nuisance and that people are sleep deprived. It's confirmed by law. So that has been an instrumental change for us. So there's hope that the Attorney General will be reviewing that case, and that something is going to have to happen quite soon. We just need to keep pushing it, keeping it in the media.
Absolutely. As a communities and families together, we are going to the Dáil on the 21st of May, Tuesday, to ask for these regulations, to have a response about this need of regulations. So if we think in many community groups that are educating themselves and helping each other, how do you find the when you are going looking for professionals to help in hydrology, geology, ecologists? How does that work in Ireland when these developments come into the communities? Is it easy to find, or?
No, I know of people that have had to go abroad, really. There is no access to independent information, and that is a big problem in Ireland. There is no access to independent noise consultants, independent ecologists. The ecologists are just there. They're all taken up with business. Yes, with the wind energy industry, for sure.
Mm-hmm. This is very alarming.
It's fortunate for the larger national group. There's now a great network of different groups, and every group is at a different point, whether they're at pre-planning or the proposed point of it, or some have maybe have won planning applications and got them refused, or have gone to on board Planola. So there's a massive array of experience and knowledge within the national group, which is really great for everybody to be able to bounce ideas off. And it's really, unfortunately, it's only self-education is how it's working, and it's unfortunate, but that is what it comes to. Is it's all about self-education and sharing people's experiences and sharing people's knowledge. And through the national group, that is really, I suppose, it's opening us as a local community our eyes due to the knowledge that is within that group.
Yes. And how, what would you say to people that are just starting now, even in a pre-planning, or just to know what is happening in their area? Hi, Stephen's here. Welcome. How are you?
Sorry.
No worries. We are just doing a discussion here. So Brenda and Michael just explain a bit about their case, the pre-planning phase. And would you like to give some advice for who is starting, and also in this phase, how was for you guys to get together?
I think one of the things we did with starting, if we actually met other groups, and it was lovely. Actually, it was a lovely experience. There were 10 people in their committee, all sitting around the table, having fresh buns and bakes and cups of tea, and they shared everything with us. It was, one community to another, and actually that's something that maybe can't be overlooked, is that I now know neighbours I didn't know before, and it has certainly brought us and together as a community, and for sure, that has been a positive experience.
Because I suppose our community only has a church in it now. There's no shop. You have your church and your GA pitch. You have your school. So, as I said, it has. There's two sides to the coin. It's unfortunate that there's a proposed wind farm in our village, but fortunately, we're actually getting to know our neighbours so well that I personally would never have had a chance to meet or have any, I suppose, purpose to meet. And there's great friendships being formed out of it. So it's kind of sad to say that it took a wind farm to do that, but I think there's been great friendships made from it, and I think in one sense it's bringing our community closer together, and it's making our community much stronger.
Yes, and now nationally, I think this group, the national group, is amazing, and all volunteers, all from those groups in every county.
Yeah.
So it's amazing what is happening. And Stephen is also have with the website as well. So can you share with us all the work and what we are planning to do and what we need to do to change these situations to all these communities?
Yeah, like the common thread you find with all groups that you meet, and you're right, you build a community around this. It's quite funny like that. I have the same experience. I've met loads of people I never would have met, right? And it's the same common theme comes around insofar as that a lot of people at the beginning of this for us were kind of either sitting on the fence or were kind of sure what's the problem here, right? When we started, right, that was what we were kind of getting. And sure, they didn't want to argue with their neighbours was another thing, right? So, but when you started, one of the things that's very kind of important, I say to people at the beginning is, go visit a wind farm. There's not the likelihood is there's one not too far away from you, right? You might have to travel 20 or 30 kilometers, whatever, but you might even have to travel 50 kilometers. But I certainly recommend that to anybody in the group. Go visit one up close and personal, right? And go talk to people that are affected by it, right? And that was the first thing that we said to people, based on 2 or 3 people that had gone and done that before us having a town hall meeting, right? And we just gave across the experience, and then we did some of the visual aids from the point of view of the biggest visual aid that we got was the maps, right? So when we put the Google map together, and people could see, and we printed out big, large ones as well for people that aren't big into going on the internet or whatever, but it was the number one thing that everybody wanted to know: where's the turbine going, and how close is it going to be to my house, right? And then when you get across the scale of it, the scale of these things, then people started to go, okay, we need to find out more, and they start to just educate themselves then as well, and they start contributing then to the group, and they want to get involved and all of that. So I'm a big believer of just advise people, don't say, you can say, look, I'm against it, this is why, but we recommend you educate yourself. Go find out for yourself, right? Here are the pinpoint things to go and look for, right? And they'll start to pick up the things themselves, right? And come to the realization themselves. And that's the best form rather than just telling them everything, if you get me.
Yes.
And just give them enough pointers to go and find that information. And we found the visual maps. The other thing was the posters were great for us in the beginning. They're less of a thing now, but the posters at the beginning, and not putting the posters up yourselves. We made the big mistake of going around and sticking them up on poles and ourselves. We had groups going around. Waste of time. The best thing to do is go around. Are you for this? Or are you against this? If you're against it and stuff, here's a sign. We won't even put it up. They have to put it up on their own gate, right? And then it sends that message. We're not for this, And it was the one thing as well that helped with groups, even within the community, of people saying, well, no, they're not for it, and when you're bringing politicians around or councillors around, you had all the signs up, and you say, look, there's that gate, So all of those kind of things helped.
What about the farmers? Is there, anything that could help them to also understand better? Because sometimes the developers don't explain anything, and they just give
the developer
sign.
Yeah, listen, developers will just, they want the project, they want it to go ahead. And by the way, before when you hear about the project, they've probably been working for 2 to 3 years on the project before you ever hear about it. Okay. That's how long. And at that stage, they've invested probably close on €1 million to €2 million on the project already, right? So they're fully in. They make a judgment call as to, do they think they can get in here, right? And if they sniff a chance at all, then they will pursue it until finally they get a nail in the coffin in some shape or form. And they'll keep going. They keep coming back. So they do. So this is why we've been parts of our area have been fighting these things for 10 years, right? And I've come to the conclusion, this is why I'm involved in the CEPA, right, is because they're just going to keep coming back, right? So yes, you have to fight your local battle and do everything within the local sphere to fight it, but until we change it nationally, they're going to keep coming back. Yeah. And it's the same for all the communities around. It's essentially the same story all around.
Yeah, we need regulation.
Yeah, yes. Regulation, 100%. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Without regulation, there's no protection. And I guess one of the big questions is, why do they do a noise assessment at all? Why is there a limit on wind turbine noise? Is it to protect immunity, or is it to protect health? But I think the most obvious answer is to protect health. And if that's the case, then we need to let the government know that that we're very much aware that the World Health Organization in 2018, they stipulated and made a recommendation that wind turbine noise was limited to a maximum of 43, decibels, and it's the LDEN level. But our government in 2019, they came out with these draft guidelines, and they converted the World Health Organization's advice, and they did so incorrectly. And we're aware of this because 13 global acousticians, 13 global noise experts signed a joint statement and confirmed that the government made more than 320 mistakes in the noise guidance. And we know that, today it should be 37 dB LA90. 37 dB LA90 is what was advised in 2018. And we know that today the planning applications are going in for 45 dB LA90. So 8 decibels is quite a massive jump.
Yes.
And in,
And
it's
the
almost
size of
double
the
the loud.
turbines, the size of the turbines also increased.
Yeah. So, but the government has done nothing. It has made its mistakes, and it has done nothing to correct them. And now the government has been told by the High Court that the current guidance again is not good enough, and it is not
Not valid.
protecting nuisance, and it's not protecting a night's sleep, so it's not protecting health. The government is in a big quandary right now because the HSE is also making submissions to every wind energy development. They're making submissions, and they're asking for the protection of health, and they're concerned. They're raising concerns for the noise levels, and they're also asking for the elimination of shadow flicker. So our own HSE, they're a competent body, and our own HSE are asking for these health protections, and again, these Fahibeg was recently granted planning permission. So who's responsible for the planning system but the government? And if the government is enabling unsafe wind energy developments, then the government is liable for this and will be liable for the poor health of the locals in Fahibeg. So we need to let them know and call them out.
Yes. And one thing that we are doing is a petition as well. If you're watching right now, we're going to leave the link on the description of this video. And we have at the moment 660 signatures. So if you want to join in and sign, please do, and share with your family and friends.
I suppose for our group, I suppose what we did was from our public meetings, we actually started a protest, and we protest once a week in the village where the developer's office is. We are kind of making, I suppose, where we're protesting is the main thoroughfare for that people will be coming from Limerick out to West Limerick. And it's more making people aware that this development is being constructed or proposed, and it's generating massive support for us, and it's generating massive awareness. So the more awareness, I believe, that you can give to within your own community and the wider community, definitely the more support you will gain.
More education.
The bigger the net you can cast, yes, the bigger the net you can cast, the more support you will gain. And also, it's more just you get more press. The more public you're seen, the more press you will get, and the more press you will get, the more of a thorn you are on the developer side, and they will not want bad publicity or any publicity.
One of the issues with the wind turbine noise, I find, is that people are saying, "Oh, but it's actually quite low compared to road and rail." Wind turbine noise is an environmental noise, and we know that in the long-term exposure to environmental noise will have adverse health effects, and it will add stress to the system, and it's cardiovascular and it's stress-related illnesses, and it is due to the long-term effect. And if you look at road and rail noise and all the studies that have happened in that area, they tend to concentrate at around 50 dBs. So it's not the exposure to loud rail noise or loud road noise. It's just having it there as a constant. And the airports, they close at night. The roads generally get quieter at night, and the rails as well, they're not. But with wind turbine noise, it's actually more prevalent at night, because there's two aspects. You're talking about the noise level, and we know that the World Health Organization, like it's actually out of date now. It's 6 years ago the World Health Organization stipulated a maximum level of 37 dBs, whereas our planning applications are permitting, 45 in predicted, noise assessment cases. That's a significant difference. And
Yeah.
the second element of that is that, even the high court, the judge in the High Court, she said that it's not about the dBs. It's actually the characteristic of wind turbine noise. It's the whoosh and the thump, and it's called amplitude modulation, and it's the fluctuating loudness. So the volume is going up and down. So it's the blade passing the tower, and so it goes from quiet to loud, and they calculated it, and it's actually 8 dBs. So it can fluctuate by 8 dBs, which is a significant loudness, and that is the most severely annoying characteristic. Noise is subjective, so one person is going to be more annoyed than the other. And you have to admit that and agree, like, that noise is subjective, and but all noise is unwanted. And in my opinion, if sleep is being disturbed, that's not subjective. Nuisance is objective.
Correct.
And if sleep is being disturbed,
Yes.
immediately that is a health matter. So
Because
when
you don't get your sleep, everybody knows that the effect is that, and this is going on for years.
But imagine if you're a child.
Yeah.
So if you're a child and you haven't had a good night's sleep, so you're getting up in the morning and you're going into school tired. So what's happening with your education? Also, we know, and this is from speaking with people that are living this experience, is just the headaches. And they can be debilitating. And when they take the holidays and they move away, after 2 days for some and 3 days for others, the headaches disappear. So it's cause and effect. And the other thing is that it's different for everybody, because everybody is different. It's like a motion sickness. Not everybody experiences seasickness at the same level, and it's the same. It's your ear, that's affected with this, the vibrations and that, and just that you'll have 2 people living in the one house, and they won't feel the effects in the same way. So you would just have to accept that. That's just the human population. But currently, our government is not considering the health effects of wind turbine noise, and that is something that must be addressed, and it must be addressed, quite immediately.
Yes.
I suppose for me, what I'd say is there, when you're coming out with any data, whether it be sound or shadow flicker or any data, whether it be wildlife or anything, you have to tailor your presentation to the crowd that you're giving it to, and giving highly technical information to people that don't understand it, or that just don't understand it, or may not understand what the abbreviations or anything are. It's wasted information, and you really have to tailor the information to the group. If you're trying to talk to a hall of 200 people and telling them different things, it's going to go over their heads. They need to see, or they want to see, tangible things. The same as, what is a 158 meter turbine the length of? Is it a GA pitch? And it's only when people can visualize it or hear the difference in noise themselves is when they can kind of say, oh geez, yeah, I can see that. And that it's just for the bigger group. And I know we have to go technical with things, but when you're trying to bring a group of people together, it needs to be layman's terms and as simplified as possible to bring as many people with you, because you will lose people very, very quickly.
Totally agree.
When it comes to that.
And I think if on the layman's terms, wind turbine noise, people are not getting a night's sleep because of wind turbine noise.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not getting a night's sleep because of wind turbine noise. Limerick does not have very many. We're not covered with wind farms. We don't have a lot, but we have evidence, and this is evidence that went to our county council. We did an FOI, and we have evidence of sleep disturbance and multiple noise complaints to 8 wind farms in Limerick. That is a significant problem. And if you're not getting a night's sleep, it's a health issue.
And how can people know about these complaints? Is just an information that is out there for people, or how does it work?
Yes, for a number of councils, they will hold their complaints online, but not all. But if you were to contact the Freedom of Information and the Access to Information on the Environment officer, and you should make an Access to Information on the Environment request to that officer for all wind farm noise and shadow flicker complaints. We concentrate on noise, but shadow flicker is also a health concern. Shadow flicker causes nausea, and dizziness, and it has caused serious health concerns in different parts of the county.
So people have the right to get access to this information.
Yes, they do.
It's something
yes, they
actually
do, because it's access to information on the environment.
In relation to what Brenda said about the freedom of information, that and getting all the nuisances that were lodged to the councils, that was very impactful for our, say, community meeting tonight, because people really, they knew somebody that lived close to the turbine. They knew people, or they say, I know that wind farm, I know somebody that lives over beside that. And it was giving them another kind of stick to go follow, to say, I know somebody over there and I can talk to them firsthand, that you're not, I suppose, not going digging for people in a sense, or digging to see what wind farm is an issue. It gives you kind of, there's a person that lives beside this wind farm and they do have an issue. Their names are blacked out and everything like that, which is fine. But they went to the point, the nuisance was that bad that they went to the council and lobbed an observation or a nuisance with the council in relation to this wind farm. So they're not afraid to talk to you if you want to go find them. They are there. There is plenty of people out there that are willing to give their lived experiences, and lived experiences is where it all comes from.
Absolutely. And if you're watching this now, this podcast, we would like to invite you to join us or support the march that we are doing, a march for robust wind farm regulations. And you have all the information here. You can go back in the video and gather all the information. And also visit, please, our website if you want to support us, cepa.ie, cepa.ie. I would like to say thank you for participating in this second episode. Brenda, Michael, and Stephen. It was great to have you here and listen to your story. And I hope we can help more people from the communities in other counties from today.
Excellent. Thank you, Bianca.
Thanks a million, guys.
Thanks, Bianca. Yeah, thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.